Hello everybody and welcome along to Cairn Hill Cabin in County Cavan in Ireland for the live stream on pencil portrait drawing. I was asked to do something in pencil there a while ago, and also somebody asked me a bit more about the portrait end of things. So I said, well, why not a combination of the two would be a good idea for a lesson. So here we go. I'm going to give it a go. And I did a picture here. It's on my Facebook page. You can see it there on the Facebook page. And I'll turn the camera now in a minute. I'm doing it on the phone this time, so I'll turn the camera so you can see it properly. But this is the picture I'm copying from. Now, there might be a bit of shine on it, as you can see, because it's pencil. But what I'll do is, if you check back, you can have a look at it on the actual page, and you'll see the painting I'm doing, the picture I'm doing it from. So I'm going to turn the camera so you can actually look at the picture other than me, because obviously it's all about the drawing. Okay, so I'm going to start. So just give it a second now, just to give it an adjustment here now. It's just a bit of a nuisance here trying to get set up to get this right. Okay. Here we go. Now I may have to adjust the camera as I go along. So I'm doing it on this side for change because obviously I'm being right-handed. I don't want you to miss out what I'm doing. So what I'm going to start off with, if you have a pencil, preferably if you had a pencil that's a darker, you have a range of pencils. I might put a bit of a light on that. I have a light here. That might be a bit better. If you have a range of pencils ranging from dark to light would be great. HB to 6B would be brilliant, or something like that. I'm using an HB to start with, just an ordinary pencil you'd have for school. Any of those type of pencils would be perfect. And then if you haven't got a really dark one, something like a 2B or a 3B would be grand. I'm trying to get the really dark shade here. I'm actually, because I don't have a 6B, which is a really dark one. I don't have one of them, so I'm actually using a black pencil crayon for that. But you can actually use, even if you only have an ordinary pencil, just to practice with that would be just perfect. And then you can actually darken it if you get another pencil or whatever. So how do I go about doing it? Well, the first thing I would do is, I would look at I'm putting the two of them here side by side. So I would normally I would sketch out very roughly. Everything is to say, it's not set in stone here. I change it as I go along. So I just get the idea of where everything is roughly on that's how roughly I lightly. Now you'll find this really hard to see, the light lines, but you'll see that I'm actually just really getting the idea. Where's the line of the eyes? Because normally the eyes are about halfway down the head, believe it or not. Most people often people draw eyes and they put them up really high up on the head, but eyes are about halfway down in reality. You can't see it here because the top of her head is actually up here somewhere. It goes off the page. So that's why it looks like her eyes are higher up. She's got quite good proportions here. The nose is about halfway again to the chin, and the mouth is about halfway again from the nose to the chin. So it's all halves and halves and halves. Now, having said that, we're all human beings and we're all different. So you learn the rules, you learn the rules how to do it, and then of course when you look at people, we all break them, because if we all had exactly faces half and half and half, and we'd all look exactly the same. So you can say we don't all look the same. So okay, so here we go. Now this is like 3/4 view. So I'm going to draw this line down here roughly for where I have the nose. And again, this, you can see how sketchy that is. I really don't go into a lot of detail on the nose or on the lines at the moment. It really is just literally something that can be, it's a moving feast, as they say. So that's roughly, so I usually am actually going to start in roughly where the nose is. So the tip of the nose is about here, and the mouth is probably about here, say. And then again, that's again, it's not set in stone. So the first thing I try and do is, okay, where's the eyes? I get there's the bridge of the nose here, so I kind of work out where's the bridge of the nose and work out where the nose is. So we start to get, and I look at the shapes often, what are called the negative shapes. The negative shapes is so when you say you draw the nose, for example, I know I mentioned this before, when you draw the nose, you're actually drawing sometimes you look at this shape, the shape you're not drawing, and that actually is a great indication as to whether you've got it, it's going to actually work out proportion wise. So I'm going to just get the camera to stay there, don't be moving on me. Stay. Okay, so it makes it easier rather than trying to hold it. Okay, so I'm going to just give it a... So I'm looking at this sort of area here. So you can refer back to the picture on the page. And I'm looking at the eyes. Look at these shapes here. Look at the little shape that's... Sometimes don't even think of it in terms of being an eye sometimes. You actually look at the shape and think of what little shape, even that little triangle there, is that going to be the same shape as your triangle? Because often if it isn't, then... Now, when I do portraits, one of the things I do as well is I try and see what is it about the person that makes them there. Is it the expression of the eyes? She's very hooded eyelids. She's got a real definite mouth here. Sometimes it could be a glint in the eye. It could be a twist of the mouth. And you're kind of conscious of those little aspects of the personality as you draw. So I'm just going to I'm not going to go into too much detail. The other thing you don't do is you don't do too much detail initially, because you'll end up maybe with, I know I said this before, a perfect eye perhaps, but it doesn't really fit in with the face. So you end up having to go and change it all. So I'm just looking at things like this, drawing the pencil up here like that, look. So I can see that the end of this side of her nose goes right up into the middle of her eye. So if I did this, I should be hitting the middle of her eye about here. Again, it's a great little, all these little things of distancing, trying to work out directions of lines. And I pop backwards and forwards a little bit. I don't kind of go in, I don't want to work in one area very much at a time, because otherwise, as I say, you get the too much detail too quick. I'm just drawing the line at the top of the eyebrows roughly where I'm going to be putting that shadowed area. It's a lot of shadow in this, which actually is quite interesting too. And there's another little bit of a line in here. Now, even on this one here, I could have actually worked for probably longer on it, but I was trying to get it done within sort of, I know I have it down for an hour. I'm trying to get it in roughly done within the hour, sort of. So that's the idea. So I'm not get it to a certain level. Okay, so, and this line here, if you can see here, I kind of look up here. So we're going to go right out here at the edge of the mouth. We're coming right out to here. Well, maybe about there probably. So it's probably about here. Okay. And I say, if you have any questions, let me see. Hi, how are you? Mary, and got my eyesight, gotta need my glasses on. Sorry about this. Mark and Celia, hello, how are you? Veronica, how are you? I'm sorry, my eyesight, I should have had my glasses on actually, probably. God. Excuse me, this camera moving around a little bit. I must actually know what I'm going to do. So I can just hang on a second. I'm going to get a bit of tape here. I have tape here somewhere. Had it in my hand a few minutes ago. But of course, need to say when you go to look for something, you can't find it. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to get a bit of tape. Oh, here, I see it. A little bit of masking tape here. It'll be grand. Have to use your head. This just keeps moving around to me a bit. Okay, just use the head. There we go. Sorry, I broke the broadcast for a second. Moved something on the phone. Just bear with me 1 second because the camera is moving a little bit here and I don't want it to move anymore. So I'm just going to give it the other way. I'm just going to give it a twist around. Sorry about this. 1 second and get it stuck in position. I think that might be better. Okay, just shouldn't go over to one side then. Okay, so we'll resume where we were. Okay, so I was just going to get just as I say, just generally getting all the different shapes. So we've got half, and roughly about half again. She's not quite, it's roughly about half. You look at there, half and half, somewhere about the middle of the mouth, and we're going to get it down to here. I probably left a bit too much space on this side. So I don't mind if it goes off a little bit, that's fine. And I'm just working in roughly where the different, that's kind of eyes. And as I say, nothing is set in stone at the moment. It really is a movable feast, as I say, just moving this all around. And I probably will move this eye over actually a little bit. So I just start to kind of get the lines in a little bit heavier as I go along. And I don't panic about the rubber yet or anything like that. If I make a mistake in the eraser, it doesn't bother me too much. I've sometimes done pictures and I've not used the eraser at all, even though I've made loads of mistakes in it. And I've gone, it's amazing how you... So I'm just kind of getting the overall idea of where the wrinkles more as much to do with anything is to just marking in the shape of the... I'm going to make this over a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to get this. Okay, so we've got the shape. Just watch where the cheekbones are. This line here, for example. So I'm going to start by I'm going to start shading in the areas. And I'm just noticing, I think I'm going to bring the nose over a bit here. And I'm going to bring, in which case, start getting shadow in underneath here. A shadow on the mouth a bit. I'm still using the HB the HB at the minute. I'll be going in. That's just like the ordinary kind of pencils you used at school. Just the ordinary ones at the moment. Now, so if you have any questions at all, oh, okay, it's gone moved around again on me. Let's try and get that stuck in position. Okay, that's it. Okay, so I'm going to work up here a little bit. So you can dip in and out as you go along. If there's anything you want to ask, if I see it, I can see it, if I can read it. Hi, Margaret. Let me see if I can read that. Sorry about this. If I can, I was beginning to panic as there was no sign of your lesson. Oh, thanks. Don't worry. You can. I'll get there. It might mean my technology end of things, or sometimes I go from the laptop to my laptop. Doesn't have a great camera. My daughter's laptop sometimes, yeah, it's grand, and I usually borrow hers. This is my other daughter's phone, because I said I wanted to get a different position on it. I couldn't really raise the laptop up. My phone isn't working right on the front camera. And it goes from one thing to the next on people's technology in this house. I have to borrow people's things. Okay. And then the internet goes wonky every time, especially the lockdown. Sometimes the internet's not been so great, even though it's meant to be on fibre optic, but doesn't always be. Now I'm just gradually building in a little detail. It's still not. And I'm just gradually, and just bringing up the shadow, the shading on it a bit. As you can see on the page, on the page, what sometimes I do is I use the side of the brush, and so instead of actually, I'm going to actually pair it a little bit, so I'm going to get a nice bit of a nib on it. Oh. That the thing falls apart of me. There we go. No, that's not right. Good pair is handy. Now, I'm just going to start to... I'm just watching that distance there now. Still not happy with this here. So I'm just going to bring this... I'm just going to work this a little bit darker. I can always rub it out if I don't need to, but I'm trying not to use the rubber as much as I can. So we're going to get this, bum, 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 okay. So it's to say if it's just bringing up a little bit of detail on each. I hop around the face. If you notice, I'm hopping around the face a bit. So I'll do the eye, but I'm not finished at any time with this. And this is just a bit of it done. And I'll check in and see if you have any questions now in a minute. Now I'm going to just use the pencil, and I see I'm using the pencil very far back here. And again, looking at these little spaces, as in a negative space, look at the space that you're not drawing. Like you're not drawing that light area, but you can draw, but you keep an eye on the shape of it so that it doesn't, or like the shape of this, or so there's not the actual item you're drawing, it's the shape around it sometimes. It is a really good way of actually, sometimes just as a good checking mechanism to see if you've, sometimes if you can't get it right, you say, God, I can't get it right. And then you look back and you sort of check a little bit like that and you think, oh my God, your mind is way wider or way, oh, it keeps moving around, sorry about this. It's always, try to get it, now stay there, might stay now, hopefully. Okay, so it's just, yeah, so you realise sometimes it's the opposite, it's not the shape, it's the other shape that you're not drawing, let's say the negative shape, the shape maybe that's in here, and sometimes you realise, oh my God, that's completely off, and then when you go and change it, suddenly it actually starts to make sense. I'm starting to add a few of the lines of the wrinkles in here now, and I'm going to start going back and doing a bit of the shadow up here. And I can just use your finger. You get really black hands when you're doing this. It goes everywhere. And take the lines out of it as much as I can. And I'm just gonna. I'm still on the HB at the moment. I'll be working up to me. I'll probably just go from it to the 4B actually. Now I'm just going to start bringing in some of these wrinkles in the lips. And the lines in the face. And just keep an eye on, keep an eye on the main line. So just think of the main one, this big one, kind of a Y-shaped one up here. So just kind of get, where is that one? Because you kind of, rather than just randomly putting your lines, think, where is the main one? Where is the one that kind of defines the face a bit? And there's sort of a couple here. And then you can kind of work to the smaller ones after that. There's a big one, there's one that kind of comes up here. And then this is the hair. So I just come down here like that. And we've got a few little ones here. Actually, I might bring that back a bit more. It goes down like that. And really, when you're drawing, really, it's all about practice. Oh God, it's so much about practice. Even if you just got the sketch book and you were watching, say like, I don't know, an interview on, oh God, look at this goes on now. An interview on telly, for example. It's a great way of, if you just do really quick sketches of people, say, talking in conversation, and the quicker the better, often the quicker the better, even if you only get a tiny bit done. And I'm just doing this, the flow of the hair, I'm just giving it this, I'm just giving this a dark bit in here, and I'm literally just being really rough at the moment, just getting to where the rough dark bits are. And I'm just going to put a dark line up here. Actually, I might go to my other colour now, or what colour? My 4B, which is a much darker pencil. So I'm just going to go and bring it in here, and I'm going to come in here with the hair here. And again, you see, I'm holding it much. See how high back I'm holding my pencil. I hold it quite far back. Now, what I did for the side here, I would normally go into the 6B, but I don't have a 6B, so I'm actually going to use a black pencil crayon in this case. And I'll just start to do it at this stage. Just start to bring it down a little bit. And also, the reason why I'm doing it early rather than later, you might say, why would you not put it in after? Or the reason is because if you're going to put a dark background, you really want to see that it will make a difference to the depth of the shadows that you're going to have in your drawing. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you went and did it afterwards, you'd realise, oh my God, this picture looks so faint now because this is so dark. So I'm going to kind of go in now. I can come back over it, and you can go back over it afterwards because it's very rough at the minute, and I mightn't even go back over the whole way in this, but I get the overall idea that what would do is you'd actually go, but you can see, and actually you see how the difference, it actually starts to bring out the face already. So I'm just going to go I'm going to go along the edge and I'll bring it out. I say for the lesson now, I probably won't go, I would go back over it a bit more. I could even go back over that one actually a bit more in reality, but you'd know what I mean by it if you can. And I'm just going to go around the face. And I'm going to start to bring it down here. Just if I get it in roughly, then you can start to see. And I'm allowing little, you can see the little, so it's not smooth, you know, because it's kind of this lines, this wrinkles, and they've sort of like indents into the face almost, as it were. Okay, so we're going to just go down here, like that. A lovely day out today now here. We were very lucky with the weather. Wherever you're tuning in from, I don't know, but it was really, really nice today. So I got a load of branches cut down underneath, the old dead branches underneath stuff, so that was brilliant. We're so lucky so far because, as anybody, I know there's a mixture of people looking in from different places, but I know, well, in Ireland, basically, our weather is not renowned for being good. And certainly we've been so lucky overall, bar I think 1 week so far in the lockdown. It's been just such a nice spring. Consider, and into early summer now, and that's much nicer than we usually get it, thankfully. Now, okay, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now, and that's kind of something, but you can see already how that makes this so much paler now than it used to be. You know, it kind of looked dark, and now it's like, it looks so. So I can go back in with my 4B here now, and I'm going to start darkening. Now I can start to go in a little bit and start to do the actual, the eyes. So I'm going to put the shadow in here now, on this eye, and here. And it's very dark in here. There might be a bit of a shine on this, but it's as much just so that you get the idea of what I'm doing. I know the angle won't be 100% perfect. I'm afraid I don't have I'd really want an overhead camera thing, but you get the idea as I explain it as I go along anyhow. So and you can then look at it afterwards when I do it as well. So I'll put it up on the Facebook page, the actual finished one. So I'm going to go lightly, and watch when I'm going in the eyes, I'm going working it into the center because the pupil is in the center. So I'm going to make it, if you know the little lines that kind of go around your eye, they work into the center. If you look at yourself in the mirror, you'll see it. And then we're going to come down around like that, and it's quite dark in underneath. I'm going quite heavy. I vary. How you hold your pencil is quite you know, sometimes I go in like that, but a lot of the time then I'm kind of going much further back. And as a general rule, when you're drawing, you don't hold the pencil like you do when you're writing. Like I often say with the brushes, you kind of hold it nice and high up. You have more control, funnily enough, even though you wouldn't think you do. It takes a little bit of time just to get used to that idea. I'm just going to bring really dark under here. You can't really see the details on her nose. You can't actually see her nostrils in the original picture, so I'm not going to make them up. I'm just going to do it as it was. You know, you literally can't. It's such a high contrasted photograph. I just got on the internet. It was very nice. It was really just very black. Now this here, and there's the line here. Now, often you go, so I'm going really dark, and then I kind of now I'm actually going really light. Look, you can see it going dark, and now I'm barely touching it. I barely touch the line there now. And you can go like that, darker, heavier, and then you barely touch. So it's literally like the same, a slightly roundy kind of movement. Sometimes I do that more than even rubbing it in. Rubbing it in is great, and it works really well, especially, look at this, what's going on? Especially when you're doing, children, for example. It's great. But when you're doing adults, especially older skin, it's often better nearly just to do a very light like that, because they don't have that really smoothness that a child does. You know, there's a roughness there, and so when you actually use the pencil, rather than smudging it in with your hand. It actually gives sometimes a better effect. I'm going to go in with really dark with this line now. And into the corner there. I'm bringing it up into there like that. And again, I'm starting to go lighter again here. And these are kind of sort of dark in places where you see there's a darker bit. You just go a little darker bit there. And then you bring down, this is light. And I'm kind of, it's a slightly rounded movement I'm actually doing when I stop and think about it. Sometimes I don't really stop and think about what way I'm doing it. Especially when you have to sort of teach it, you sort of realise what way you're actually doing it. There's a slightly rounded kind of a way of doing it, like. And a darker bit there. And I'm darkening this, I'm gradually gradual darkness there. And I'm going to actually bring this, I'm going to bring more shadow on this side here. So for a bigger area, I'm just going to use the, so sit more forward to it. Now I might smudge that in a bit. And I'm going to take off a little bit of the, just take a little bit of this. I'm going to use the rubber, but it's actually just to lighten up that side there. I don't really use the rubber that much, to be honest. Often it's sort of the mistakes you make with the light pencil, they actually become part of the drawing a lot of the time. And actually I draw more with the rubber, the razor. I mean, sorry, we call it rubber now you're here. What is the razor? Often you use the razor often more to highlight rather than actually to actually take out. Now I'm actually going to use, better rub that, get a pair on that. That's gone completely blunt. So I'm just going to go extra dark in these areas here. And then I'm going to smudge. I'm not going to use this for that. I'm going to darken in here as well. Just really dark. I'm using the actual black in this case, but you could 6B. If I had a 6B, I would have used a 6B, but I just don't have a 6B. Going in here like this. And the same on this here. This bit's really dark. And I'm going to get the dark here on the eye. The pupil. Leaving the highlight there so you can leave a little bit of light. And again, we're just going to come in. So this would be a 6B. I say it's black mark crayon because I don't have a 6B. But I must get some more pencils. And I'm bringing out the shadow now. Back to my 4B here. And I'm just going to gradually smudge that out. A few little creasy bits here. And the creases, sometimes I just do them. It's like it's a line but not a line. See the way it's a line but it's kind of a scratchy kind of a line like that. And again, I'm coming down here on the there a bit more. Again, bring this up, shadow up. So it's a case of gradually working your shadows up. And there's creases across, a couple of creases in here. As I say, it's really all about just practice, practice, practice. The more you practice, the more you become less afraid even of doing it, because often you're afraid that if you make a mistake or you make a mess of it, but don't be afraid. That's how you learn. It's just literally gradually, just keep going at it. You know what I mean? You pick it up, and it's amazing how you start to see what you're doing wrong after a while. And I suppose that's really how I learned. Really, at the end of the day, I was drawing from the time I was I don't know, since I drew, my mum used to say before I could nearly walk. I had a pencil in my hand and I wanted to draw and draw and draw. And to be honest, that's really how I learned. I mean, yes, I went to the College of Art, and no, I can safely say I learned nothing there because the course was really bad. Let's put it that way. But but the thing about it is that, where's my rubber gone? Use this one. Where's the other rubber gone? The problem is there it is there. It's 90% is just literally from practice, literally from drawing all the time, and that's why often people will say, oh, they were something like they were self-taught, and they feel a little bit as if they weren't quite as good, therefore, as somebody who is. I would never ever think that just because somebody's been self-taught as an artist that they're not going to be every bit as good, because I can assure you it makes no difference. That's not to say you don't learn from other things along the way. You can still learn all the time. I'm just going to take that line out. That's the one I had for my down line, as it were, for my marking where my the line of the face. But of course you learn all the time. You pick up tips. You look at things. You can watch other artists working, and it's like as I always say, it's like cooking. It's like restaurants. It's like orange chefs. I mean, they borrow each other's ideas and tweak things, and art's very like that, really. Not that I'm a baker now or a cook now, particularly. Well, anyway, just an average one. Here we go. There we go, like this. And I'll just now I'm going to come down along it here. I want to get this much darker here. This area here. Now I want to shadow this a lot more. Now I'm just going to give it a cross in. See where I'm going now. I'm covering the little picture with my hand, you see. Going to come in here, see if any more questions or anything. Can I use a charcoal pencil for the dark areas? You could, yeah. The only the charcoal pencil were quite. It's just literally the definition is just the to get the lines in, really. Yeah, you can use charcoal pencils. What I used to do a lot of portraits with actually was what's it called? Pastels pencils were brilliant, and they're very much like a charcoal pencil idea, really, kind of as well. So, and it's a slightly different effect you get, really, with the charcoal pencil. That's perfect. Let's see, is there anyone? I think I need more practice to join in properly. Struggling to keep up. Oh, that's fine, Simon. Look, I mean, look, there's loads of you just literally just you can come back and have a look at it too. I'm having to sort of doing it in the hour. So in that sense, I'm kind of doing it within the sort of getting it done for a class, so that it doesn't go on all night type of thing. But the best thing to do is to just literally practice. But also you can look back at the video. Remember, it's up on Facebook, and I'm going to put these on YouTube. I have a couple of more to put up as well for the kids' class as well. So I want to put up a couple of them on up YouTube, and so you can always come back and check. So you go ahead and do it. And then what you do is come back and think, oh God, I wonder how did she do that, or then check back and see. You can. I don't necessarily expect that you might watch every single moment of it. You might, but you might decide to do it. But or you might decide to say dip in and out. Now I'm going to put this part really dark as well. So, as I say, it's really to sort of give you an overview. And then what to do is actually to come back, and then if you want to check back on the video afterwards, as I say, and you're struggling with it a little bit, and see, well, maybe how did I say anything particularly about a particular part or whatever I was doing. So I'm just going to keep working the shadows. It's a real gradual build up of shade, and I'm going to start putting in, and it goes quite dark in here. Now I'm running out of space a little bit on this, but that doesn't matter. Like, you'll get enough of I'll just get the idea of what I'm on here with it. I didn't quite have that page that I thought I had. I'm just going to start to get now. What I'm doing I'm just doing them just see that I'm just bringing them down, like it's that kind of a movement I have now with my hand, just to, and then now and again I just come in a little heavier with the pencil, like a hairline kind of a, and it's a sort of a jaggedy motion I have. There's a sort of a jagged motion I have to the it's not like I'm doing a line. It's a kind of and again, because of the fact that it's older, it's an older person, it's kind of got that roughness. So really the line is sort of dictated by the type of what you're drawing, really, you know, type of line you use. Just kind of getting roughly where these lines are. You see, it's a kind of is a build up. I'll just get these in here like that. And I'm going to go in quite, I'm going to go in quite dark underneath here. And underneath here as well. And then when I do the turn on it, it's going to dark in. And then you come back with the fade in, as it were, into the lighter area. And that's when I get lighter. So even though, see, I'm using the pencil a little bit different too. So you don't always have to, you can hold it like that, different ways like that, depending on what kind of side of the pencil you want to use, or what kind of amount of a bigger area you want to use. So I'm just going to gradually bring in these. Actually, I want to just bring this back a little bit here. It's very hard. I'm trying to see behind my hand, as it were. Probably should have put on the other side, really, the picture, which would have been, I think it's because initially I was actually going to put the camera over the other side, which I normally have it, and that's why I have the picture on this side. It would have been obviously much better to do it the other way, but sure, you live and learn, as I say. Because I'm covering up my own hand all the time. I'm trying to find where I'm going. Now, there's a little bit of light as well, which I'll show now in a minute. I'm going to come back in with the razor now, and I'll use the razor to actually highlight little areas as well now in a minute. So I'm just going in and out between these. Bringing some of these lines down further. So you can work on these for ages, really. You often see the pictures, you know, that you see that some of the the Texaco art competitions that the children do, and some of the older kids, and there's absolutely amazing stuff. And I would take for so long to do those, because I mean, I'm doing a kind of a synopsis version, I suppose, in a sense, because you know, you'd have to take forever to just actually get them all in and get in the detail. But I just want to get the overall, that you want to get the idea of how to approach it. And I see the way I'm doing this really light. And again, it's that little movement, that it's a kind of constant little, that sort of a movement with your hand. And this is very light here, what I'm doing here. I'm getting it darker in here again. I'm going to just smudge a little bit around the top there. Just giving that little shadowy bit there into that corner there. And again, up here. Now we're going to come in with a bit of that. Just gradually darkening these lines a little bit. And you can put the odd little, really little fine little, see the way that little, you know, you pointed it kind of bit, and it gives that little depth where there's that really crease inside it, sort of a, I'll just get all these in here. I'm going to get this darkened. Just gradually, this is part I'm working on the most at the moment. Just darken it down, little lines coming this way. And I'm going to put the hair across in a minute though. I'm also going to use the rubber just to highlight little bits, because they often, you see, you're almost like you're drawing with it. And just to highlight the little bits of the light areas, because it's almost like the indents in the skin are so definite that actually there's kind of light, it's light and shade almost in the skin as it goes along, like the humps and valleys, as it were, it's catching the light. And often you get say a definite line, you can kind of come in then with a slightly shallower bit, not as deep and low, it like sort of a gradual fade out. And a gradual working up into the skin. See any more questions? Sorry, let me see. I don't have all the pencils you are using, and just hopefully God, I can't. Sorry, my eyesight's desperate. It's not terrible. Don't have the pastels either. Darker areas. Hopefully. Use charcoal. Yeah, you could use charcoal. You could indeed. Yeah, you don't have to. You know, I mean, even to give it a go and allow yourself to not have the depth of color. Go to the depth that you can go to, if you know what I'm saying. That you are within what you have. I'm lucky I came across these pencils actually, because they were hiding somewhere. I was doing my clear out in lockdown. I came across them because I said, oh, thank God, because I only had HB pencils otherwise. These I'd got for some ages ago. I don't know when I got them even. I can't remember when I got them. But thank God I came across them, because it was really handy. You can get some good pencils on if you order them. Even the pencil, you can get them online too. It's really handy. You know what I mean? They'll send them out to you. I don't have all the range of them here actually. I have a whole load of the HR hard pencils, alright, but not as many of the softer ones. And they wear down much faster, the soft ones too, because you use them. They're quite charcoaly. But charcoal would be fine. It's a different effect, but you definitely would get a lovely effect with charcoal. Give it a go. In fact, even if you only have an HB pencil, give it a go, because seriously, it'll just give you. Now I'm just highlighting I should say, low lighting these, giving them an extra little flicker with more of a point on the pencil in places. So it's almost like where the real depth of the crack in the skin is, and then you can highlight come in with it. I wish I had a better eraser now. I don't have a great eraser here. I'm using an old one to not getting the right spot. I couldn't even find this eraser last night I was doing the picture. I was using the ends of a pencil, of the ends of these pencils here, and that was not ideal at all. So yeah, I've got different. At least I know now what to do with this, is to get a proper tape on it next time. I wouldn't normally have the camera the other side. It's just that because I'm doing this, I want you to make sure that you could see it. A little softer on the top of the mouth as well, you see. Now I'm going to just come down here. I'm going to do a bit of, now, I won't get too much of this in because there's more on this, but I'm just like a fold, like a kind of a something over the head, like a scarf or something. So what I did is kind of I did literally just like that, and then I kind of came down So it almost gives it a weaving pattern. And it's amazing how it actually gives it that kind of, and you can go kind of crisscross and sort of diagonally in it as well. And you get that impression that it's kind of like a woven impression on it then. And then shadow it a little more. There'll be a shadow here a little bit where it's just up against her head. And be shadow on the far side as well where it's because the light's coming from that side. I say if you have any questions at all, like put them up and I'll answer them if I don't see them now. I don't see them all. I said I should have worn my glasses. I really find it hard to read the screen times. I have to find my glasses first. I think I know it there. I don't use them really that often, but when I need them, I need them. That's the same. And I'm just going to bring some of this. This is a little more darker here too. A few little darker ones in here. Just looking back, referring now back to the other one. I'm getting the point in here. And you can use this to kind of highlight a few little areas. And also to give an underlight. Often look, get an underlight under the chin. Because see that like that, and just use that to, and it's great. Because that I love that when I do it in the same with painting, use an underlight, using maybe a pale blue sometimes on a portrait under the chin. I think I did on the other one I did before when I did the colour one. And it was great because it gives it just gives it a real depth to it. I know you might say a blue like, but you do often you kind of see it, that kind of a shade. Now we're doing the same down here. Just giving it a kind of a rough texture, feeling like as if it's some kind of fabric of some sort or other. I'm not spending too much time on this because it's kind of more just a kind of a just get the overall idea, and you can do little crisscrossy ways of doing it, and so you get that over, and then you can just again the shading, if you shade it gradually. So it gives it a texture here. So you get that feeling it's almost like a rough fabric-y kind of a feeling, or rough woven whatever scarf or whatever it is. And you can go quite dark, and you can work from dark. What have I got on this for? Oh, there it goes on the floor, and then I knock everything over in the house. Yeah, let's wreck the place while I'm at it. Okay, so we just darken here, and we just go like that. Now, I'm going to just work these shadow up into these a little bit, and then again softer. This little kind of a little more hairline ones in there. I literally, as you can see, I don't kind of stay in one place for long. I move around. And again, this is the idea, because what you do is you work from the general to the general to the detail. You know, you start off with the general overall basic, then you work to the next basic stage, because if you, as I say, if you work in one area at a time too much, you end up with, say, one perfect little area that's just this sort of precious little area, and then end up that doesn't actually fit in with the rest of the face sometimes, and it's so annoying then that you have to go back and change it. So you're much better off to just generally work through the whole face, and then come back and do the same again. And then when you get to a certain stage, you can then finish out a particular area after a while. But it's only when the whole works as a whole, so it's like very holistic, basically, and a holistic way of doing it rather than a detailed way of doing it. This camera is driving me mad. No, so at least it's going at the same angle of the page, so I suppose that's good. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually use the razor here again, and I'm going to use it for the hair a little bit. Now watch this. Let me see. I'm going to darken this area a little bit more here. I'll just darken this just a little bit more because it'll work better against it too. And it's a great way of highlighting. You can use the eraser very much if you're doing hair to highlight it. You'll see now in a second. I'm going to just keep it there now. I'm getting this very low, and I have to just use the pencil here. I thought I might manage without it, but no. Oh God, where did that go? I think it needs to be emptied properly. I'm using the wrong one, that's why. Okay. So yeah, new eraser, it's quite a good one though. So I'm just darkening this generally a bit more. A nice depth in there I want. Now I'm going to use this pen, this rubber here. Look at the state of my hand. Okay, so I'm going to start. If you have a better, now this is not a great eraser now, as you can see, it's a very basic one. I know I have some good ones around, but I can't find them at the moment. And you can use it to actually highlight, and you can watch it, to rub it off, clean it off. That's the other thing, it's a bit like a brush, you have to keep cleaning it off, because otherwise it'll just get, and if you've a really, it's better to have a good pointy one, but, and see that I'm looking, just little flicky motions. And it really works, because what you can do then is go back in with your pencil and you can just so it's kind of like white hair, kind of a white greyish hair, and you're getting that. It would work better when you have a better eraser. That's one thing I must invest in now. My next shopping list of things is just a plain ordinary good eraser that is good. This one's, it's all right, but it's seen the better days. So you can see I'm using it to highlight areas, and you can do it up in. So if I say, for example, I want to get a little bit there, shadow it down, and then you come back in with your, oh, there it goes, I'm looking at everything. Come back in with the eraser, and just, and you can, if you've got one with a really pointed edge, is the best, because you can literally almost draw with the eraser. I've often done it, and you get some lovely effects with it. You get some really nice effects. I'm just going to lighten up the eye a bit. And again, you see, I've hardly used the eraser in this picture. The main reason I've used the eraser actually has been to highlight. It's actually been to draw with it rather than rub out. There's so many of my lines, bar that big one there, which is obvious. A lot of the lines I've used, my original lines, I've actually allowed them to be. I've kept them there. And it's almost, I think it works, it's amazing. It doesn't actually detract from the, see, that really would work now. If I had a really good point on that now, that would be so much better. Some of those putty rubbers are quite good too, although sometimes they're not. It depends on the type. Sometimes they're not. They're the other ones that they're malleable in your hand, but sometimes they don't work that great either if they're too much, because they actually don't have the strength to them. But you see there, look, see the way you can do that, and you can go from the dark back into the light, so you can get that nice. So you can give a nice little shadow in there, for example. So, okay. So I think that's kind of it. I don't know what even the time is. What time is it now? Oh, it is just the hour, actually. Nearly. So that was about it. I was hoping that I'd get it done within the hour. As I say, I might go just a little bit more in there, maybe. There's probably lots of little bits. I mean, even on that one there, I could probably work for longer on it to get I could get more of the details of the wrinkles on, but I want to do something that you could do within the hour, that you kind of have a good idea of what it's all about, and what I'm doing, and where I'm using the shadows and the light bits and the eraser. But at least now, hopefully, you might have realised, they're learning a little bit about the eraser and how you can use it as a tool to draw with, really. And yeah, so I'll take a picture of this and I'll put it up, and you'll see that was done. As I say, you could work on and on a little bit more, but I think that hopefully that it has helped you along the way. And let's see if I have any more questions here. Now there's one here. Let me see. I have missed the beginning of tonight's class. Where can I find? Oh yeah, you can see it. You can watch it on Facebook, and I'll be putting it up on YouTube later on as well. But you can watch it back on Facebook when I put it. It'll go back onto Facebook. and you can just look and watch it there. So I'll check back or whatever. Okay, hello Valerie, how are you? And Geraldine, they asked a question there. Great. And if you have any other questions, just put them in the comments, and I should see them afterwards, or even on the YouTube one or whatever. And listen, thanks very much for watching. And as I say, next week we'll have another one. I don't know what we'll do yet. I have a few suggestions there to have to go through now. So I'll see what ones anyone has, and if I have, or if so, I could think of something myself or whatever. And if any of the kids there, I have a kids class tomorrow. We're doing a calf. Where's my calf? I have him here. There's my calf here with a little bucket. So we're doing that tomorrow morning. And if you know any kids who'd like to watch it, noon tomorrow. So thanks again, and I'll see you again next time. And thanks. Bye bye.